And welcome everybody to the 2016 predictions by Darshini and Spirit. Thank you for being patient if anyone's even bothering to look at this one. But anyway, it's been a rough few months, but anyway, here we go. We are into the 2016 predictions, and I'm going to do an overview and I'll explain why. And this is just a brief bio. And to remind people that don't know me, I am what they call a claircognitive, which is a medium who communicates with people who have passed on, who have had physical presence on Earth. Clairvoyant, which is receiving pictures through messages through pictures. A clairaudio, hearing it. Clairsentient is feeling it. I also get, how can I say this, not messages, but I'm able to view in taste and smell, which is, I'm not too sure what the words are on that one, the actual definition, but that's the most frustrating because I have to convert it into words. Anyway, so let's get on to the slideshow here. So the 2016 predictions, and this is very important for everybody who's been following me in the last few years, and that is that this year is going to be different. I found that not too many people really are wanting the details that I put in. So I've decided to do a predictions DVD, which it'll be literally, how can I say this, far more intense, and that's what the new DVD is about. This year's predictions, which are following this mini slideshow, are really to do with an overview and just to highlight some touching on points, things like that. So the large majority of YouTube viewers weren't really interested, so I'm going to give them what they want, just a little smattering. But unfortunately, the real predictions are on a DVD. So anybody who's interested in that can contact me. The predictions DVD list will have everything on the volcano activity, solar activity, riots, epidemics, ocean phenoms, predictions there, socials, which is suicides and any other things that are happening like riots, which really is even itemized, technology, everything that I usually have, but a bit more intense, far more intense than what is usually given on my predictions. So DVD number 1 will be just on America, 2 is on Canada, 3 is Europe, and 4 Asia. A bonus DVD is really the slideshow, and what I'll be doing is actually doing a separate DVD on this slideshow we're going to see briefly here, but I'm going to add things which are referring to 2015 but are really far more detailed for the 2016. So it's a conglomeration of all the countries as well and what I'm seeing. So it's actually far more intense. So what are we going to do today? We are going to have the 2016 predictions, but what I've decided to do is to do a review. And why? This is very, very important. When I do readings for people, businesses, etc., what I always do is go backwards. I know I'm probably unique in that, and I'm pretty sure I am. And that is why I developed this method, because I realized a long time ago that people don't know if what I'm telling them is true or going to be true, especially in their own lives. So I always go backwards, but when I go backwards, and this is a requirement for anybody new, whether you like it or not, and if you don't like it, that's fine, go somewhere else. People know I'm brutal on that one, but basically it is important for you to know that you're speaking to the right person and receiving information correctly, and not having, not exactly flim-flam, but information that really is going to more scare you, and it's not worth it. So basically what I did, I kind of went overboard as usual, but that's me, I'm pretty intense, and that is a review of the 2015 predictions and events which did actually come true. So I thought, oh, maybe I got 20-30%, but quite frankly it was 98, maybe higher than that, as you will see. So bear with me. For those who really, and this is about about clients and things like that, that I really find it's essential. So in other words, it's about establishing a track record of true predictions, okay? And that's what I'm giving you here. So those who don't want to literally listen to what I'm going to be giving them, and I probably will throw in little items too, obviously for the 2016 year, but you can skip to the 2016 video and I'll give you the timeline later in a few more slides. This is the list of predictions which did come true: mass shootings, terrorist activity, hurricanes, typhoons and cyclones, record-breaking extreme high heat, and then the low index is broken, snow and blizzards, which is part of the lows, flooding, earthquake activity, volcano activity, by the way, iPhones and iCloud being hacked, social security numbers here in America being hacked, weird weather, dust storms, water spouts, etc. Here in California, it's Camp Pendleton. I had said it was a bad accident. Then there was dust storms, droughts, water shortages, water wars, suicides, wildfires. And these are where the locations I'd said, and more or less the timing I told them. Weird weather, airport security, politics, oil discoveries, riots, but as I said, volcano, monsoon, king tides, etc. So here we go. This is where I'm going to add, when I'll finally upload the videos, I'm going to add here what time you can just jump to the 2016 if you do not want to see the verifications of all the 2015. And this is important. We need to know if things did come true, not just, oh yeah, okay, she got that, because that is actually in my life. It's more than that. So here we go. Predictions. These are all the predictions for the states and cities, etc. around the world, okay, that I've referred to. So, and these are specific predictions, boy, rental lips today, but specific predictions which are in the countries I refer to. A few predictions which have come true. Here we go, on mass shootings. And as you can see, I did say in my video, it's kind of semi-quoted because I didn't go word for word, I didn't have a transcript. But anyway, a single and mass shootings more in America and around the world. Be proactive, and there will be isolated incidents and will come after March next year. So when I did all the review, and as you can see, it's May, it started May, June, July, November, December. And these were in Colorado Springs and Chattanooga, the 4 Marines killed, unfortunately. And these were terrorists, which I'm going to it's the next slide. Garland, Texas, things like that. San Bernardino, which is here in California, a few weeks ago, unfortunately. Terrorist activities, again quoted, terrorist activity to increase after mid-April, elevated risk, America, Texas, Australia, France, England, Spain, Germany, Belgium, Afghanistan, Iran, Arabic countries. There is a slight change of leadership in the ISIS organization. I can't confirm that. Anybody who wants to leave a note and let me know if that was so. I didn't. There's so much research I could do in the last, actually it's taken me 3.5, nearly 4 weeks to put this together. So you may like to leave a comment, I'd appreciate it. Texas, attack in a convention or some large convention. And as you know, it did happen, as we will go to see that. So basically France, the Charlie Hebdo attacks, and it's important, by the way, here to let you know that the 2015 predictions were done in October of 2014, and then uploaded at that time. Actually, it was about a week or two before that, but uploaded in October of 2014. So some of these predictions that I've given are really referring to November and December as well. So I did mention France, that's one. Now, later on that year, France had these attacks in January just happened, And I quietly did say in an, I think it was Irvine, I'm not too sure, I have to go and look at it, but one of my lectures that I go and give in an expo, I did say quietly that there are going to be not far more, but more attacks in France, Paris, unfortunately. So, and this is another one, France will get hit, Spain, Edinburgh, foiled attacks. I guess that's a spelling mistake. Some get caught in Belgium before the attack, and that could be because of the second Paris shooting. I apologize for any mistakes I've got. So anyway, again, November there was a second attack in Paris, Scotland, and you could read this. I'm going to do a slower one and upload it later. Okay, so Texas attack did happen. Again, they were doing some kind of a convention with cartoons, and that's why some ISIS members went in and started shootings. You know that one. And these are all the terrorist attacks in America, and we don't know all. You know, we're not. How can I say this? We're not privileged to know every single one of them, because the FBI do obviously a good how can I say this, a good job preventing it. So there are kind of half attacks as well. So there was all these actually, as you can see, permanent residents, they'd come in the country, kind of gone in a way as sleeper cells, and then they reactivate. And these are all American ones, not everyone. I haven't put all of them down, by the way, because I haven't had time. But these were the ones that I could find quickly for this slideshow. So terrorist activity to increase in testing after mid-April, as I said, and the Arab countries, I didn't go in. The Middle East, you will see oil-rich Arabicans will experience a high amount of bombings, isolated attacks. So it does confirm on this one. All of these are just lifted from the internet. I did not go into them specifically. I'll be here for about 2 years if I did. It's just my half confirmation, verification that it did come true. Up to you, Tunisia, Spain, all these suspected planning terror attacks, but they wouldn't. Spanish bomb explodes. So again, Spain, Belgium, France, Germany. The terrorist attacks will not only be in America, but will have these hideous acts in Australia, Sydney. But there were two raids, I believe, and they stopped one, I think. So anyway, this is, again, you can look at it on your own. And I hadn't kind of gone on a binge, kind of on my little, how can I say this, step stool there, talking away about children who aren't innocent. These are children who have been more or less radicalized, to be honest, predictions of it. And it's there in the video 2015 if you want to hear it. But this is just a snippet of what I said about European, USA, Australia, New Zealand, and also in the Western countries, and more subversive these children are. By February 2015, by young kids who are up to the age of 28, which they are still children. We have established that. So anyway, they go and play fantasy games and become desensitized, no emotion. It goes on. But anyway, so these are all the incidences where within that age range that they have shown that they have become radicalized. Okay? And I've put more information about radicalization on the 2015 video. Rioting all over the world. And again, this is something that it's not just, hey, we want more food or something like that. These are against the government about certain things. So this is, again, Uganda, all the countries I mentioned, India, Nigeria, Egypt, China, Hong Kong, rioting in Japan quite a bit, Iceland, Scotland, Spain, Sweden. I didn't put Sweden in here, but that's in there. So here are some YouTube comments in purple here that they leave comments about the video on 2015, and they said clashes broke out between riot police in Milan. So again, these are little comments that people have left, okay, and confirming what I'd said. In the world again, England, Philippines, it goes through Belgium, Iran, Ukraine. Now, hurricanes, typhoons and cyclones. Here we go, a rather vicious hurricane hitting Mexico. And anybody who knew what was going on here in the West Coast and most of America had repercussions from this hurricane. And it was Hurricane Patricia, came in October and had some quite devastating effects. Then there's one in Hawaii, one West Coast, will affect the Hawaiian Islands but will not hit the island. Cat 2 to 3, July, August. And that was on July 29th through August 7th. It didn't hit it was Guillermo. I'm sorry, I'm not very good at pronunciation. Cat 2. All right, so that happened. Hurricane predictions, Long Beach, I said, possible hit, Huntington Beach and Long Beach. So mid-February, what actually happened was hailstorms and Southern California, and it hit Huntington Beach and Long Beach. So it looked like snow, to be honest. Dominican Republic, hurricane predictions. One will work through the and pass. Again, a bit of a spelling, grammatical error, but I apologize. The Dominican Republic, and slows down. So again, that was Tropical Storm Erica. Hurricane in the Pacific. And I said they were going to have 9. There were 8 and 1 Category 5 storm, and that was Hurricane Patricia. Continuing, here we have 12 to 17 Cat 5 cyclones. Cat 5 large, 1 may occur March, April, 1 in August will hit tip of Australia, but not hit Australia, but just a tip. Hits across the eye of PNG, which is Papua New Guinea, towards Australia, the eye and the whole storm. Anyway, one did form, it was called a super typhoon, Cat 5, Typhoon Mazek, and that was March 25th through April. Devastating effects in the Philippines. So there's a Cat 5 near Japan, another one. It was a brutal year for typhoons. Devastation in the Philippines. And again, these are all comments. Anything in orange is in my comments referring on to the video that I made. Will be near at the end of August and cause devastation in the Philippines, hitting southeast, hitting India, southeast Philippines, end of August. Super typhoon at Atsani actually did hit August 19th, okay? Actually it ended August 30th. It was quite a storm. Then again, Dominican Republic, hurricane storms. There was another Cat 5. Well, actually Cat 5 was really Mexico. Funnel clouds. I'm just going to skim on this one. I said there would be weird funnel clouds that never really happened before. They were in Canada, Colorado, California, Arizona, Texas. Pennsylvania, tornadoes, which again, the corridor, I keep on seeing it. I said this for how many years, that the corridor for where it was only a slim corridor in the Midwest, it was reaching more now and expanding more to the East Coast in America. And sure enough, Pennsylvania did have 3 tornadoes, etc. As you can see, all kinds of other tornadoes in there. Now this one is record-breaking chart for a record-breaking extreme high heat. And it said, I told them that it will be from end of June to July, will go through November, and around about the second week of November when we started actual winter months, put it that way. So anyway, these are all of them, record break, all the records, new records which were broken, previously recorded. Heat would go, as I said, and it's all of these, Florida, Alaska, Phoenix, California went into like 70s and 80s to in December. It was ridiculous. So even Florida, so it's all part of that El Nino too, which I'll talk about later. Heat and high patterns, again, Texas, Death Valley, America. These are all the other, how can I say that? All the other states that got affected with this high heat. And again, Iran. And it was extreme. Let me see if it's there. No. These are the other countries, Pakistan, Middle East. It's getting to be horrendous, the actual... I think, let me go back one here. I want to just point out that it actually reached, I think, 164. It's somewhere in here, and I'm trying to look for it. But I believe it was in Middle East Asia. But the record, I think it went to 164, if you can even imagine that. 159 to 164. Okay, it's just mind-boggling for that one. Sorry, no, it's not there. Okay, so here we go, back down. Now we're going to the extreme lows, and as I said before, here it's very cold, record-breaking temperatures. Again, YouTube comments. I had to black out some of what he said. The Boston blizzards, I did say, but it's also in Canada, the polar vortex issues. It was one of the most extreme cold times that Canada and America have experienced in, I don't know how many years, but anyway, it's obviously record-breaking. And these are all the other cities. Boston, I know a lot. Everywhere in America there was something, either snow or the cold index would, go down. And here in Canada, again, these are, she was even warning her friends and family to stock up in the winter, which luckily they did. Massive snowfalls in southern Ontario region, feeling like Russia. But anyway, all of this was unfortunately happening. Flooding. Now this, even I hesitated, to be honest, when I was saying it last 2 years ago now, in October 2014. And that was when I said there was going to be flooding in the southeast, but also up through England. Not only flooding in the southeast, but up right through, there's going to be massive floods, middle and up through England. And the Thames would be inundated and flooded. And sure enough, unfortunately, it has happened a few times, where the Thames did burst its riverbanks, swamping, and it's not, the walls there are not small, they're massive, so you can imagine and it's called a super tide too that happened. So it was pretty bad, unfortunately. England really got decimated last year in 2015, sad to say. And it was February, March, what I said, brutal. And this is what more about it. Ireland, I said too, Ireland as well. Flooding effects would be Ireland, and again, unfortunately, Ireland did get hit. In France, I saw flooding, and unfortunately, there was a lot of deaths as well. America. Needless to say, we've had our share of floods last year in Port Texas. As I had said before, has horribly got Austin, Texas, major flooding in Austin during one system, but it was really Texas top right was getting just inundated constantly. And I hate to say it, with all what I'm seeing for the El Nino, it's going to be massive, and that is why I decided to do the DVDs, just one on El Nino, and I didn't put it in, but that will be just one on El Nino, kind of a collection of everything that I'm filming for each country. All right, Texas, Indiana, it goes on, the flooding. And here is what I said, that I had said specifically that it was going to flow over the bottom half of Oklahoma, Arkansas, and Louisiana, this system. And as you can see, it was just horrible. And I think that was a Hurricane Bill or something. Yeah, all right. All these flooding heavily, and I confirmed everything was happening, unfortunately. Breaking its banks on the Mississippi. All of this. Few violent strong storms will hit southeast Florida. I mean, southeast and northern Florida, sorry. Australia flooding, and I have I've put the flooding together, even though Australia, France have other slides here where I've predicted certain things in it. So if you want, just please stay. There are certain other slides with specific countries I've covered. And again, I'm from Australia, and you were right with regards to the area of the bad floods, which had happened last week, New South Wales. Please keep on sharing. Okay, so all over, I'm afraid Australia was again decimated. They're going to get, it's pretty sad. All Australia again. Dust storms, I said Arizona and Phoenix, middle of America, California, Nevada. California I was surprised at, but anyway, even when I'm giving these predictions, I even get surprised. So co-creating flash floods in Denver. And this is all what I've said in either the 2015 predictions or a lecture I've given. So, and everything was, Las Vegas had some really bad floods too. As you said, Utah, Nevada, all of that, California. Sorry, dust storms we're talking about, thinking of floods now. And again, it's all this. Droughts, to, again, it's kind of a counter, but it's a paradox rather. And there were droughts in the Midwest and the tip of Texas. So, and it affected futures and crops, and that's what I thought I saw. So here it is. Weird weather, king tides, and really this is more attributed, I didn't know it was El Nino, but quite frankly El Nino has been with us. It started just quickly in the, it's going to last 19 months period, that's bottom line, but it started, they say in May, but it really started at the end of February, March last year, the year before last, sorry. So, sorry, last year, what am I saying? All right, getting mixed up with the years now, we're in 2016. Rogue waves, I haven't had any confirmation because unfortunately, or fortunately, no ships were there. Anyway, water spouts in weird places, truly weird places, unusual places that weren't. Fires, I said, were Oregon and Washington State, some in San Diego, 3 small little ones near Escondido, which is in California, coastal inland a bit. Sure enough, there were huge fires in the wild, and it didn't complete, but it said, I did say in the forest, in national forests. So basically, Oregon, Washington states, I actually was traveling through there during that time in August, and it was, all the ash was certainly in the air. In Kentucky, I said, in West Virginia, same thing, in the national forest. iPhone and iCloud hacking. I said that this would be compromised later with quite a few million people affected. Personal, financial, credit card information will be compromised, and they will be finding the attackers, the hackers will come in from a small back doorway. And sure enough, I think it even says Angry Birds and a few other apps were given on a back door that they found. Cloud hacking. Social Security. I said that their social security numbers will be hacked, but within the government agency. And sure enough, unfortunately, there was a hack. Camp Pendleton, what I said was an accident. Actually, there were 2 bad accidents, maybe even 3. I can't remember. Solar predictions, and again, the YouTube comment, you are once again correct. Solar cycle extended and highly active. You keep on getting it correct. Today there was 3 major solar flares, March. So there again, you could, and I had said that you could see the aurora as really far down. Usually it's up in the northern states, but here and in Canada, but it actually went down as low as North Carolina, Georgia, Arkansas, and Texas, Virginia. Okay, 11-year cycle is going to be actually extended. If you want to see the video, it's up there. Suicides on the increase, and there again, unfortunately, more in the military in United Kingdom, and for the last few years it's just been increasing, unfortunately. Africa, I said large dust storms and more aggressive, creating water shortages and governmental disputes. But on the other hand, in Ethiopia and Congo, in a way like a monsoon behavior, there was flash flooding. Sure enough, it all happened. Afghanistan, earthquakes, and I said that the Afghanistan, a lot of earthquakes in the high 6s and 7s in the mountains will be destabilizing, but I said that it was in above. I don't know why I didn't put that in anyway. It was above Afghanistan, and that was Tajik. Well, I can't even say it. Anyway, it's up there. And I actually changed that, but I'll change it on the next video. But it was, I said, above Afghanistan, and I meant in the mountains up there. Oh, well, I guess I did too. Okay. Australia, earthquakes will continue to have more, and these will increase. And they have, I believe. And actually, come to think of it, it had a 5.7 earthquake, 2 5.7s, I believe, and 4s. Flooding in Bangladesh, same thing, floods. Belgium is having problems with their own people regarding autonomy. Keeps on going. Canada, tornadoes. And I said that by the end of June it is going to start more activity in July, towards up to 8 and some in clusters. F1s, F2s, and more than they usually see. So here is a little chart. In July, these are all the EF0s, but there was an EF2. In August, there was an EF2, 2, and a 1. Earthquake in Canada's off the west coast in Canada, 4s and 5s, and apparently there was a 4.3, 39 moderate earthquakes. So, and here it is. There were 46 4s, 5, magnitude 5. There were 6, 46 4.0s in the region, 5 in the 6 in the region, and 1 6 over 6. Canada, again, weather. I told about the brutal system. I'll go in this on the other. I'll be more expansive when I refilm this. But North America and the snow will come in strong at the end of November 2014. Now remember, I actually uploaded it on October 9th, but it was really, I think, 1st or 2nd of October I actually started filming. But what happened here was, it was part of a system that hit New York, Boston, Michigan, all those northeast cities. Record-breaking Arctic cold. Canada weather, same thing, record cold. I'm not going to go into it. Threat of foreign produce and farming flooded, and this is what, and flooding as well too. But basically here I said Canadian government will advocate foreign produce instead of local farms. And here again, unfortunately, Canadian dairy farmers were hit by a treaty they decided to sign, Trans-Pacific. The farming areas will be flooded, heavy downpours, again, it happened. Riots in Canada, and all kinds of things going on there, unfortunately. China earthquakes actually increasing. Ethiopia, large dust storms, shortages of water, flash flooding in Ethiopia as well, and the Congo monsoon. I think I already did that one. France and Spain, there was weird droughts and coastal ranges. Water is still an issue in France and Spain. Greece, I said there was going to be a 6.88 earthquake, and off the island later in the year, Greece will experience far more activity because of this. So here we go. I thought this was good. It was a 6.5, not a 6.8, and as of 11/17, when I finished this chart, it was, I'm sorry, I'm just looking at something. It was 1,238 residual earthquakes after the initial event, and 42 of those earthquakes were 4.0 and over. 3 earthquakes were 5.0 and over and continues. So, and there was on 11/17 a 6.5. I haven't checked after. They're still getting them, by the way. Iceland, earthquakes will continue, more earthquakes. And sure enough, they have, unfortunately, in swarms. Predictions for individual countries, again, Ireland, infighting and backlash in groups. Iceland's volcano, I said major volcano will become active May, June, July, and there will be dust, ash in the air, but not too badly, air control issues. So they grounded some of the planes, but it wasn't enough to evacuate the people, I don't think. Oh, this is it. This is the one I meant. Sorry. Italy volcano, Mount Etna, and another volcano goes active. So Mount Etna did actually go active, far more active, and people were not evacuated, as I said, but there was ash. Second one was Stromboli that activated, and that's going active. India's monsoons and flooding, devastation. It was really sad to see that. Earthquakes in Japan, I said, will increase in activity from 5.0 upwards to 6.8 to 7.3 off the chain of islands. And here is USGS's, and this happened in last year, in 2015, 6.7, 6.5, 7.8, 6.8, 6.7. And there's a little chart for you. 7.8 in May. Volcano. New volcano active underneath the sea, becoming active, more active in Japan, and here it is. Dramatic new video shows volcano forming on a new island. And another one is there'll be an accident at a nuclear power plant reactor, and there it goes, happened. Republic of Congo, and I am so sorry, I have to stop you there for a minute. And the Republic of Congo, again, large dust storms and getting aggressive, and that was really pretty bad too. Monsoonal behavior too for water. Russia, Putin getting worse with his control, and it's going to get worse. There is growing areas where poverty is rampant throughout Russia, creating a state of revolution, but underground. He obviously squashes anything that's that he can, his army will see. So there's proof that, not proof, but you can see there's a lot of people who aren't as flourishing middle class as he claims it is, like North Korea. Anyway, an underground movement in Russia fighting to overthrow Putin as well. Back again in Russia, the sanctions against Russia will have a backlash effect, and Putin's sanctions against America will have a backlash, and there's some more conflict. Sanctions will, by end of June, will increase, and they actually extended it. Earthquakes in South America. Again, this I've said quite often that we're going to be seeing far more 7s and 8s, high 6s, and sure enough they are happening all over the world. And here is the big one that was going on, 6.26. They're all just accumulated. Here in Chile, I said there will be a sector of Chile, actually off Chile, not of Chile. There's another mistake, but anyway, 7.2, 7.8 I said, and I believe an 8.3 happened, so 7.7s, etc. Sri Lanka, flooding again. Switzerland, I said money, personal money will be being taxed in a way, but not by the government, so it's, in other words, it's going to be restricted. So where there was always a safe haven and money was always protected, that's being appealed and revised. America, snow blizzards, I put this separately. This is all about countries again. Earthquakes in Hawaii, I said. A volcano will be far more active and increase in co-create another island below. Can't confirm it at the time in October 2014, but here it is. And these are all the stats. There was a new island in the Pacific being created, not the Japanese island, by the way. The Aleutian Islands, Straits rather, at 7.1 and a magnitude 5.9 earthquake. So they're increasing, and I said 6.9 was one. Oklahoma, I said there would be a 5.1. Luckily it wasn't that large, but there was a 4.8. So these are the, again, I'm just bringing out, that was just the overview. Very quickly, I'll go and do a detailed one later, and slower, so people who really are interested in seeing what I've put up there in the slides. As I said, it's taken nearly a month to put that together, and the research. But the 2016 predictions are just an overview. The new DVDs are going to be including all of those subjects I just mentioned throughout the slides, but far more specifically. It's going to actually be split into all these countries or sections, continents, and then one on El Nino, which is going to be, there's so much in America and Canada and Europe and Asia, so I'm just trying to, Asia's going to include Australia and all the other countries, the Pacific, okay? So hopefully that's going to help a lot of people. And the video is going to actually start now for the 2016. Just to let you know, if certain things you're saying, well, why is she predicting that? It's already happened. I actually filmed it on 12/20/15. Okay, so hopefully you enjoy this, and thank you so much. This is actually just quickly. Before we go into it, I forgot I put this over. It's a brief overview of the El Nino effects, which will be at the end, and then earthquakes, tornadoes, mass shootings, things like that. Just a brief overview. I'm not going to give too many details, but hopefully you've got enough information that certain people will be happy with that. Okay, and this is a book I'm going through. I've been trying to put through, but quite a few years of challenges have come in, but they will be coming out. And another one about phase 5, what it's about and how important it is in our lives currently, and the epoch succession. Anyway, thank you so much, and take care. Have a good year if you can. It is going to be hellish. I'm not going to pretend. If you manage to come through to this end, it's going to be quite something else. Best of luck and keep safe. Hello, this is Darshini in spirit, and thank you for joining me with the American predictions, and this is just for US, obviously. And as a reminder, just quickly, again, all the fully detailed El Nino and all the other effects, tornadoes, etc., earthquakes, will be given on the DVD. All right, here we go. We'll start with Oklahoma, and as I predicted, that these earthquakes are moving upward, and they've got, I believe I put it in the review how many they've had just in 1 year, and it's I believe it's 3 times as much. So it has been moving towards Kansas, and there is a fault there, obviously, but fracking has a lot to do with it, but I'm afraid that's really destabilized, and I'm afraid that's going to only get worse. You'll see far more by the end of February. I'm not going to concentrate too much because I know I've only got a limited time here, but you are going to see higher increments of what do you call it, earthquake activity and sizes, the size of the earthquakes too. As I always have told you all and through the years I've been doing the predictions and lectures, it's in a drop H formation, which is here, and that's what I meant, drop H. It's not out here, but the drop H being here. And there have been continuing activity, and again in the review, I have shown that the Appalachian Mountains is a string that's all going through the East Coast and Florida here, and right through. Needless to say, this section has been extremely active as usual, and please don't go on about Yellowstone. I don't see anything happening there, even though it is a bit more active. But what's more interesting is that the fault line is definitely getting more active. I don't see anything immediately next year happening, even though we are going to experience far more higher earthquakes and more intense earthquakes in California. I'm just going to quickly go to California here. And as you can see, LA is going through a batch, and this is again only 7 days. Just quickly, I'll do your 30 days here. And it's not as bad on the higher, and this is 2.5 above. Cathedral City had 3.2, but we'll go back to all magnitudes. It's a bit better representation. So what I'm seeing is that here, these lines are going to get more active. As for San Francisco, well, up here, this one is going to have a bit of bigger. As you can see, it's always been active anyway in that section. And it's like a V coming in here. That's just going to keep on continuing, I'm afraid, with more earthquakes off Santa Barbara as well, and off here on Long Beach. But this is the area where Palmdale down through obviously Salton Sea, and this section is going to be more active. Or I should use the other one. This section is going to be far more active. All right. We will see a significant one. I'm seeing about a 4.8 just round about here in LA, just off LA, not downtown LA. That'll be happening later on next year. It's not exactly shallow, but it's not exactly deep. So there's a good test for LA to see how the big one's going to affect them, and they should be waking up soon on that one. Okay, going back to general US, and again here we go. I'm going to again, as you can see, it's like this active whole of the Ring of Fire is getting very, very active, but we're staying with US here, and you will see far more in Dallas, and all of these are getting far more down here. You'll see it kind of in a, I can see it's upside down pyramid. Sorry, I'm moving the camera. Upside down pyramid over here, and you will see this section being far more active in the middle of the states. Okay, so that's it for earthquakes at the moment in America. Hello, and we're back into Google Earth here, and thank you for letting me use that, Google Earth. So what we're doing is going over here, and let me just concentrate on this map. Sorry, and thank you. And now we are here back in America, but really now we're going to do some other quick ones, overviews of heat and everything else. Now, as I said, the El Nino is going to be very intense. It's going to be far higher. I've actually put a section just on the El Nino, so I don't want to carry into this one at the moment, but we are going to be affected, and that section of El Nino is going to be in here, but it's not going to be the in-depth coverage that I've got on the DVD. Again, people aren't interested in details, only, not everybody, but there are certain individuals who are interested, and you can contact me for the DVD on that one. So back here, we are going to actually experience weird droughts, and it starts really at the end of May, which is surprising, but it's in this upper quadrant here where you're going to see drought activity, that they're still going into, not so much here, which is strange, but anyway, in this kind of bowl, that section here, and it extends into Canada. But in here, we're going to see a drought, which will last until into late August to September. And the heat is going to increase, but even though they are going to get rain on and off, it won't actually help that drought situation. And again, as I mentioned, it certainly won't help California. They haven't got the collection for it, all the rain that's coming in, which is unfortunate. So just quickly on the snow, what I am seeing is that there are huge drifts of snow, and again, Colorado is getting hit, and actually has already got hit anyway. All right, let's try going in a bit. Come on. Are we frozen? Guess we've frozen. Sorry. Hello, back again, and we are covering America here with other actually weather and tornadoes quickly. Again, overview only and details in the DVD. Here we go, and we are looking at a drought. I'll start with the drought, and that is in this section here, which is like a bowl, and it extends not from Texas, sorry, but round about the tip of Colorado into past Missouri and here. So it's like it extends into Canada as well. But that whole tip, and not too much into Canada, but that has a kind of like a dust bowl activity. Dust storms again are going to be prevalent, and it's not so much the dry land, it's the weather. It's a combination of this weird high heat in the summer, and again, there will be high heat, but it's going to be a damp heat, which obviously because of the El Nino effects, I'm sure. But there will be far more tornadoes, I see, as well. We will see that going back into snow, we're already seeing snow in Colorado and heavily in the mountains, but you will see that in right about the end of January, even though we're getting a lot of heavy snow, heavy wet weather, and that's covered in the El Nino section here. Just briefly again, here you will see that the snow starts developing and moving from this section onwards, and then kind of being up here. So there is going to be heavy snow, but not the snow that I predicted last year, where it was so intense that Boston and all the others which I had predicted had come kind of really couldn't just about dredge themselves out of it. But there is going to be snow. There is not going to be a white Christmas, so we knew that only in certain locations, obviously higher elevations, but it is going to have snow in those areas, but only in that. And then later, around about February, March, you'll see snowstorms here, okay? And it will come in. But the weather is really far more on kind of wet snow, if anything, and miserable weather, cold, but not as cold, but as people in England know, or in Europe, wet snow, cold and rain, it just goes right through you with the winds and everything. So that's what we're seeing. It's kind of a weird, damp coldness that's pervading most of America. For tornadoes, I am seeing that, and there's going to be a lot of, they're like mini tornadoes, F1s, up to F3s, and they're going to really come in from even Nevada right through into this section here and into the tip of Florida. So that will be coming in, And because of the weird El Nino effects, I won't even go into La Nina, which I will be on another DVD. But basically, it's in this effect that you're going to see tornado activity. Again, F1s, F2s, or slightly on F2s. You'll see that Nebraska, South Dakota, even in the edge here, it's really this section, you will get odd ones. And even in California, by the way, but they're like hurricanes getting onto the catching and coming in onto land there. So not exactly water spouts, but they are tornadoes. And we're going to see more activity with that, with the El Nino. But this one, you're seeing far more here in these sections. I do see a possibility, it could be an F4, not an F5, but an F4, and it's in this section here. And it's tracking as if it's okay. It starts and it has a track, and they're again in clusters, but not as big as clusters as I predicted last year. But these clusters are smaller, but they're still as dangerous. And they're making a track from here. And in late July into August, sorry, I moved it again, late July to August, and we're tracking in. I will try and put far more detail in the DVD for you, but I know a lot of people are looking for that. You will see that there'll be higher winds coming in, and especially not so much here, but from this up, they're kind of real, not tornadoes, but they're really high winds, not exactly F1, but you're seeing, it's like a dust storm, but it's not, but that activity of high winds, and it really has started. I don't know if that's a sign of part of the El Nino, quite frankly. I haven't studied up on that. I'll try and check it later and let you know on a subsequent, video, YouTube rather. Okay, so just quickly again, what other things I see? Well, we are going to have these isolated mass shootings, as I told you before, and they're going to come into, there's going to be one in Colorado, could be two in Colorado, one that I think they stopped. There's going to be these rogues, and I did predict this. I told you at the end of the video, 2014 video, well, it's a 2015 video, but it was filmed in 2014, that you have to watch out for these young, not children, but they're from 15 through even as young as 13, to be honest, but through 28. And that is the demographic that I've talked about even in the review that has been confirmed. They are targeting, ISIS is targeting, doing the dirty work for them, and using them because they haven't developed their senses and their maturity and their cognitive skills as to ascertain what is real. Unfortunately, they're really into their games on their phones or whatever, and that's not real life. And sorry to get on to a kick here, but you have to really be aware of a child who has withdrawn from society, and it's a drastic change from even 3 months ago to even 6 months ago, and that they are showing and exhibiting different attitudes, withdrawing from even known friends, childhood friends. That something else is going on. The ISIS is very subversive, and they get into everything. I don't know how they even are allowed to, but they are going to step it up after really February, March. And mass shootings, I'm afraid I was right. I said there was going to be a continued increase. Again, on the review, you can hear about all those stats, but quite frankly, it is going to, I wouldn't say increase, it'll more or less plateau out. But in other words, it's not increasing, but it's not decreasing. Okay, so there are going to be that, and they're really not. It's not so much the guns. It's a convenient excuse to say the guns, but it's other implements that they're using. So be aware of your surroundings. Growing up in England, at the time of the IRA, unfortunately, we were taught pretty young, just look out and be aware of anything that's out of place. we've come to that stage here in America, so please be careful. And you know, be aware. I was going to do a video about developing your awareness, but I don't know if anybody's going to really appreciate that or really want it. But anyway, we can talk about that another time. So we are going to see far more, and I do see one in nearing, not exactly on the White House lawn, but definitely near the Capitol, and near the government buildings. So more bomb threats, which most of them, quite frankly, are just fake, but they are trying to upset people and unnerve people. That's when we make mistakes, is when we are kind of not gun shy, but reacting in a skittish way. And getting hardened is a dangerous thing too, on the opposite spectrum. So just be careful of that, okay? So what I do see, I'm afraid, there are going to be a lot, and again, the flooding is going to be quite bad, horrendous, to be honest. Again, that will be in the section on El Nino, and in full detail in the DVD, as I know that people don't like a long predictions video, so I'm keeping it short. So that's it for America at the moment. High heat will be prevailing, but it'll really come more in July, end of July, middle to July to November, and will continue right through. And we can talk about the other details in the DVD. All right, thank you for joining me. I'm going to go to world predictions next. Hi, okay, we're here with world predictions. We'll start off with the earthquakes, as I generally do anyway. Oh, look what just happened here. What's this one? And that was a 6.0 in Indonesia, and at a depth of 23. So as you can see, this is just, again, 7 days worth of all magnitude, and quite frankly it's not everything, because Europe has their own tracking system, which will go in a minute, but this is basically USGS's, and they only really cover, to be honest, not even Australia, really the Ring of Fire they cover, and down here, and that was a 5.8. Just quickly, here is the monitor, earthquake monitor, and if you could see, I think this one, no, sorry, I have to, all right, I didn't know. It had a list, and of course I've lost the list. Oh, there it is, sorry, here we go. As you can see, in 2015, and I had given this information for the last 2-3 years, but especially so last year, that you'll see far more 5s, 6s definitely, and 7s, and an 8. And here was an 8.3 in Chile, and I'm afraid that one was in September 16th. But as you can see, from January, it's 6s and 7s, and I know that's all they're doing, but quite frankly, that's a lot of 6s and 7.5s and 7.8 in Nepal. So it's growing, and it is on the increase, and you can see all the way through, as opposed to, you know, round about here, on all the areas, mostly all the areas I've been talking about. So let's get back into the world magnitude. Okay. All right, here we go. So what we're seeing is far more activity, and I had said that more activity is going to be in a 5.6 in these off the tectonic plate meeting here, and also in the Pacific Ocean. I do have some other slides I'll show you later, but I said large ones, and there was a large one here, a large one there. And again, that's all part of this movement that's really kind of ramping up. Again, that there has to be a release, another release. And Japan, I'm afraid, again, I predicted how many large ones are happening. This is actually low, that's Russia. But China has been having it. I guess they're being blocked from reporting it. but quite frankly, all of this area, and I had said down here there'll be huge ones, and there have been 7s to high 6s here. Vanuatu, Solomon Islands, PNG, Fiji has had quite a few, and again, this is only 7 days. So let's just go to that and see if that really gives you, as you can see, that's 30 days. So it's changed drastically. I said there was going to be 7s up here in this actually land formation here, and increases, and here all the way down, and this, needless to say, is getting ridiculous. 7.6 in Brazil. So that's in the last 30 days. This is all growing, and not to freak you out, but luckily that depth was not really affecting, it is affecting them, but it's 611 kilometers down. But again, it is being far more active. And Africa, I said there'll be far more. Australia, there are, I think I've got Australia here, which is, as you can see, it's not exactly, it's all there. It's showing how active, and this is in the last 30 days, how active Australia is being. That one is the 7.2. Okay, so here we go, and that's the 6.7. Okay, so this is all very, very active. Japan as well. I'm going to go back to there. So as you can see, this is hugely active. Plus that volcano I told you that's going to not go from, I wouldn't say dormancy, but it'll get active. That's also happening. In Europe, let's go to Europe. That's the earthquake. Here is Europe on 2 weeks, not even a month. That's just, yeah, 2 weeks. And I did say I've seen a 6.8 in Greece. It did happen in November. I say November 17th, and it was a 6.5. And the subsequent earthquakes have been huge. I think they're nearly 1,000 or 2,000, maybe up to coming into 1,500 at least. I'll try and have an accurate count on the review, which I'll film after this. So it is telling you, and of course Italy, I said off Italy, there's been, so that's just again only last 2 weeks. So that has been increasing, and that activity, I hate to say, there will be another reasonably large one, maybe of 6.1, 6.2 off Greece to 5. You might even see 5. I'm sure you're seeing 5.7s, but it is all off the Greece coast, which is what I said. Pretty shallow, so that's what I'm a bit concerned about. I will try and zoom in, but I could zoom in too much, and yes, it did. And unfortunately, it's not user-friendly too much. I'm going to go back. Indonesia fell 6.0. Okay, so you are, and I did say near, I'm going to go back to USGS. It's a bit crowded. I had said that round about, and here we go, Kazakhstan. I said before near Iran, Afghanistan, just about here, that you will see a large, above this area, that you'll see a large one, and I think that was the 7 point, sorry to go. I'm trying to find it. No. I apologize. Hold on, let me find it. Afghanistan 7.5. That happened in October. So that I'm afraid did happen. I had said that, you know, in Nepal there is going to be expected, but I didn't say that in any of the videos I uploaded. Sorry. Anyway, Greece is experiencing quite a few, and of course, as you can see, they're not reporting all the USGS is not reporting the true amount of earthquakes that's happening. That's why I like going to the European monitoring one, okay? And that's EMSC, okay? So that's all going to increase. Pakistan is going to have not exactly Hyderabad, but around about here, Afghanistan, Iran. Iran will have it in the mountains here, not exactly near Tehran, but they're going to have. There's another one here, about a 6.8. They're only just going to increase. There's one on the other side of the Himalayan mountains here, and they're going to have it. And more here, I'm afraid, in Africa. Minor ones, but it's on the start. It's starting to come in. Minor ones in United Kingdom. I'm going to stop there because I didn't want to get too into that. So while we're here, I might as well just quickly go into just what I'm seeing. And I'm afraid, I'm sorry again, on the review I did say France having as one of the main countries, England, Belgium, and a few things on all of this, that they were going to experience a lot of the terrorist activity. And I didn't upload it because I didn't want to be a bottom feeder, but quite frankly, I was at a lecture I was giving the day after the initial one happened from Paris. And I said that there was going to be a secondary one, and I didn't want to upload that and be a harbinger there. But those who saw it, and I've still got the video, but I'm not going to put it out, it's not worth it. But I'm afraid I did see more activity, and unfortunately it did happen. But we are going to see probably more minor attacks, not so much in Paris, but there are going to be repercussions and little bombings, but you know, they're still being attacked. Sad to say, I don't know why France especially, but you're going to see far more activity politically in Germany is going to be far more active, and I hate to say against the political who's in power now, put it that way. I'm not going to name names. So that is going to have far more activity politically, more riots happening. And this is from the younger groups. There seems to be a brand new group, well, not brand new, they started earlier last year, and they're the ones who are wanting more power and more say. Same as Norway, to be honest. And I said that these several of these countries I mentioned last year were going to go into having far more riots. Romania, also not so much Poland, but there are going to be isolated incidences. Italy, which I'm surprised. Well, Greece, no comment. I had already said that they're really in huge problems because of defaulting and trying to manipulate what they can I'm talking about the politicians, and it's just the poor people are there, but they also have to realize everybody owns it. But that situation, but those earthquakes are going to have quite an effect on them too. As for flooding and anything else, there's going to be a huge system, just quickly, coming in from here that's going to hit from Portugal through Spain. The rain is going to be pretty intense in this area, floods like really bad. Tip of France, yes, and there's a lot of vineyards that are going to actually suffer from that. Not so much Ireland, and I do see that there are still what I call the king waves are still happening. I had seen an oil discovery off the islands here, and actually there were 2 oil discoveries up there in Scotland, and you're going to see here flooding again. Really not exactly, I don't know if it's El Nino related, but I had said flooding right through England. And yes, it did happen, and I am seeing more on the southern tip here, more. So there are a lot more, there's a lot more information. The volcanoes, I said they were getting active, did become active. I'm not going to go too much because again I get not yelled at, but quite frankly people are moaning it's just too long, or they can't be bothered with it. You're going to see more activity here, by the way, with more earthquakes. Okay, mass shootings, and unfortunately there's going to be far more in these countries, Finland, Sweden and Norway, but more Norway and Sweden than Finland. So please be aware of that. Russia, as I had mentioned, Putin is having a reactive, there are underground reactive. If you'd listened to the 2014 right at the end, you would have heard that, and that did come in. And again, I covered it on the review. And he is getting very aggressive because he's trying to hold on to power. You'll see that round about mid-July, it'll get worse, where he's trying to exert more power because he's finding he's splitting his energy, trying to fight ISIS, but also support certain people, as you know who they are, that he shouldn't be supporting, but you know, that's his decision. But unfortunately, he's losing confidence within his own people because he's not really looking after them, and they are suffering, as I said, from being isolated with certain bans and everything. Iran, there's going to be a lot of other, Iran, Turkey, Afghanistan, Pakistan, India, not so much, Bangladesh, yes, and not so much these countries. They're going to have a lot more activity with not so much ISIS, but definitely all the other terrorist groups are going to try and move in, but ISIS too. But also they're going to be not riots, but activity like riots, because in Iran they really squash it. But quite frankly, there's going to be more younger people wanting the old regime to change or move out, which they're not going to. I don't see it, obviously, not anytime soon. Syria is going to be really decimated. There's going to be a lot of action there by the end of July, August, by about 3 countries. I'm not going to bother to tell you where, and it's going to have devastating effects with the structure and infrastructure in Syria. Not that it already doesn't, but unfortunately, the true Syrians, the good people, and I'm not talking about their so-called leader, have really tried to flee and are in horrible dire straits, and such a beautiful country has been destroyed. Anyway, so quickly, China, I have put a certain section on China and India in the book, really more, because this is far more on technology and where we're going economically in the book, and that's the Epoch Succession. The DVD will have a slight comments on it, but quite frankly, the book, and I'm sorry about having it not out, but we all have had challenges, and that's part of phase 5. But China is going to increase in their activity, unfortunately, with earthquakes, and it is going to increase in this section here. Okay, oops, in this section here. So all of that is going to be far more active, and I do see even a 7.2 to maybe a 7.8, I'm afraid. Okay, Russia, again, in this section, they are going to increase, but not a huge amount. It's really Japan, I'm afraid. Okay, as for cyclones, there's going to be devastating cyclones that are coming in, but I've covered that in the El Nino portion, and that's going to really be quite for the cyclones, the typhoons, whatever you want to call them, they're going to be quite devastating, but that'll be in that section. Even Australia is going to have a lot of more, about 2 to 3 incidences of terrorism activity in their main areas, and also mostly, obviously, here more earthquakes. But I would say that Melbourne, Adelaide, and Sydney, those are the ones that are higher in the hit for ISIS, okay? Which is sad, I'm sorry, but there are going to be, as I unfortunately correctly said, there were fires in where I told you, and floods, so that's going to increase. They're going to be, there's going to be a great fire here, I'm afraid, a really big one. So, which is pretty sad, but there are going to be still droughts coming back and forth on that one. The droughts are going to be pretty horrendous. but the flooding is, there is going to be a slight flood here, but it's really here that I'm seeing that the drought is being affected. I'm sorry. And on the DVD, I'll cover a bit more in detail on that one. So I'm going back into the world, get back in there, and earthquake activity. This one's just going to, there's going to be a really large one, and I said there's going to be, it's going to be an 8.5, could be a near 9, to be honest, around about this area, and it's not really in, it's off, just off the coast, but in this area. But I'll try and cover the more detailed ones. But as you can see, it's just constant. And this is the Ring of Fire for just 30 days. So that's it for the world at the moment. Sorry if I didn't cover as much as you wanted, but as I said, I have been trying to keep it low. So I'm just trying to, 7.1, which is what I said. This whole area is getting very active. Fraction. Anyway, so this is all getting active now. And it's as if, even though this one is, it's not pushing our way, but it's definitely getting, the Tropic of Capricorn is also going to get a bit more. Hurricanes, oh, I didn't cover quickly hurricanes. It's just that all of it's going to be covered. Let me go to US. There's going to be about a total of 7 bad hurricanes. But as I said, there were 4 coming in here, but I really am going to cover hurricanes in the El Nino part, because that is part of this, but again, only in a rough estimate. The details will be on the DVD if anybody's really interested. Anyway, thank you for joining me, and hope you're not too disappointed, but I know there are people who wanted far more details. Canada, by the way, I do apologize, I miss Canada, and I know I've got a loyal group there. There's going to be this whole area here it's as if I told you that center, that kind of a ball, is going to be in going through rough, how can I say this, rough droughts and sandstorms, well, sandstorms, dust storms. It's as if it's part of that whole section, and I'm sure that's the El Nino. But the earthquake activity round about here in Toronto, all the way here, is going to increase. I'll try and be obviously here too, but I will go and cover that in the DVD. And I'm sorry I'm driving anybody to the DVD. Anybody who's really interested will want that. But the details will be uploaded within about 2 weeks regarding the DVD. Okay, and you can email me for that one. Thank you for joining me. I really wish you good luck this next year. It is going to be a hard year for America because of the elections coming in, and that means there's going to be a lot of political activity, economic activity, and I'll go over that obviously on that DVD, but if anybody's really interested in the stocks and shares. And that's it for now. I wish you luck, and there are going to be some good things happening. I'm talking about people, young children, as young as 7, teaching us lessons about giving and taking our life in a different direction than it is now. All right, best of luck. Good luck. Bye-bye. Welcome back. This is the El Nino review, and again, it is just an overview. The details will be on that DVD. But what we are experiencing is the worst. Most are projecting that this is actually double what even 97, 98 was. The effects were, and it has shown on comparative that where it was here this big before, it's actually double the amount, and it's this big, and it's really covering quite a bit in the way of the effects as compared to the last El Nino. So aside from that, I'm just going to let you know what I see, and again, it's only an overview. What I'll do is I'm hoping to do on the DVD a real more fine-tuned as to where I'm seeing the worst areas, and not exactly rainfall, but anyway. So here we go. Basically, what it's coming around the Earth, and it's showing that the heat is down here, and it's having a collection of heat here. But I do see, even though here it's coming from here and here, but I do see, as I said in the previous video here, as the 2016 predictions, I do see flooding down there. But I can understand why now, because this is all dry here. So there is going to be a lot of dryness, you know, obviously, I hate to say dry crops, economics. It's going to be really bad, where they're expecting really, you know, the normal monsoonal rain and just general rain really. It's going to be pretty bad and dark for most of the Asian countries, I see, more so than anything else. Because what it's doing is, what I'm seeing is, as it comes here, at this section here, it'll start really collecting all the water from the ocean here, and that's where it hits America, not all the way, but here. By the way, just quickly, and I'll put this in the DVD, but a lot of people think that it started a few months ago, or maybe a month or two ago. But quite frankly, I have seen constantly that the El Nino will last for 19 months. And in a way that is correct, because what they say, I think NOAA, I believe, don't quote me on that one, but I believe one authority did say that it started in March or April, but I'm seeing it really, the started effects were in February, late February. So it is going to go right through next year, and until about November next year, the total effects of El Nino, this one. But not in the brutal way of constant rain or constant drought, so do not be afraid of that. So going back to this, what I am seeing is that water, and it's the intensive, it's not as if the rainfall is going to go straight like this and into Mexico and this, you know, South America, but quite frankly, what I'm seeing, it is spreading like it's here to here, and that's where the real downpour is going to be, and it's going to have flooding into, and I'm going to go closer here. Hello, lost my little. All right. So what I'm seeing is really flooding right through, and again, I will give in the details where in LA and San Diego, but LA seems to be even worse than San Diego, to be honest. San Francisco, it's kind of petering out, but it's really on the borders here. But as it comes in, and it affects, it's like constant rain, it's like monsoonal weather, which quite frankly, a lot of people here in California don't know how to drive and in the rain, so I'm kind of concerned, because this is deluge. It's like a monsoonal weather where it's coming down good 6 to 8 inches within an hour, and it's not just stopping there, it's continuous. So I know that the rains aren't going to be able to handle it, and I'm not talking about just LA, but most of California, to be honest, going through Phoenix, and it's going to hit down. Let's go to America. And it's really, what I am seeing is, and again, all the details will be later, but initially what I'm only seeing is through here, and then it kind of loops up and then comes down again. So from about Virginia, just below Virginia, maybe Virginia will be affected, but not as badly. But that is the area, and it kind of loops up, what I'm seeing. That is where the rainfall is going to be. Texas, as I said before, last year, or this year, last year for this year, it was going to have tons of flooding, which it did, unfortunately, but that's going to be really bad. And all of this area is just going to get hit. And Florida, I'm afraid, it'll kind of pick up more water from the Gulf, and then this area, not so much as Miami, but Tampa, Fort Myers, Naples, all that area is going to get hit. New Orleans is not going to get as bad, but it is going to, all of those are going to get hit anyway, period. But I won't get into that too much at the moment. So we are going to see massive floods. There has to be teams where they're clearing out. I don't even know if they started Mexico, I'm afraid, and they're going to get. They're going to initially, this kind of breaks it, but even then it does go in through, and I'm seeing nearly to, yeah, more or less Mexico City down through here, Guatemala, and going down all of this area. This, I think, is going to be deluge. Guatemala, Nicaragua, Panama, Costa Rica. Then in Colombia it'll go really, and again what I'm doing is just mentioning the initial impacts where the subsequent rain will move inside. But let me go out a bit. So what I'm seeing is, again, it's coming in this way, hitting, touching Oregon a bit, even the effects, and it has started already, Oregon. The warm heat, it's not this way and this, it's literally that way. It's hitting huge and having such an effect as to the tip of Australia down to here. So, but it's affecting more down here too, nearer to Chile, where it's all being devastated with floods, and a lot of rough seas I'm seeing, where I'm seeing high, I call them king tides. They're about 25 to even in certain areas around from here, even as maybe as far as just beyond, Santa Barbara, somewhere around there, all the way down to just beyond Chile, like sometimes at tides of 25 to 50 feet. There's an area where there's a combination of a possible hurricane mixing in with that whole thing, which is dangerous. It's 60 feet, and it's pretty hard. Hawaii, I'm sorry to say, is going to get the brunt of a certain load of storms, but it's not really as bad as by the time it gets to the coast, but they will be having heavy monsoons on that one. So what I am seeing it, a lot of people have predicted that, scientists have predicted that it's going to come by the end of November. We haven't really seen it as I thought. What I kept on seeing was really the third week, middle of the third week to the end of week of January. So we're really seeing it from February right through April. And about mid-April is going to be the worst of the deluge. It's going to continue. So what I will say here is that please know that the subsequent effects of having constant rain is that insects are going to be trying to get into the house, rats, God knows, those horrible things, roaches, ants. So make sure that you have everything sealed. Check your roof. Get sandbags out and make sure they're piled there, that if you feel that your garden is not going to be able to soak up all the water, dig a trench on the outside so it has a way to funnel outside your property if your back garden or front garden is flat or in a low-lying area. I'm not an authority. I'm sure there are a lot of YouTubes on how to prevent flooding, but basically to monitor it, check your roof, especially with the first rain. If you haven't re-roofed for a long time, make sure there are no wet spots on the first bad rain, and go through the house that way. Just make sure that if there are places that you might think are going to get flooded, make sure everything's off the floor so you don't damage anything. Really, it's just basic stuff that you could find anywhere. But I do feel that I'm afraid California is going to get hit pretty bad. Mexico, the bottom tip I'm seeing here, is going to get bad, and through here, and Colombia. So it's really, not that it peters out, but it does really hit here throughout America and going through, right through. So we are going to see like deluges, and on the upper portion it's more arid weather, but yes, and a lot are saying
not a lot, a few people are saying there's going to be less tornadoes, but I do see tornadoes, but they're not going to be in such a dense activity as before. But you will see extreme weather where there are going to be even water spouts coming on land because it's kind of that activity, higher winds than normal. All of that will be part of this effect that's coming in. So just drive safely, change your, windshield wipers, make sure that you have good tires, you've got to tread on them. If you don't need to go out, don't go and get, not Wellington boots we call them, but basically just make sure that if you've got extra supplies, great. I see power outages in certain areas, even as far as Chicago, to be honest. And a lot of other extreme weather going on, but on the lower half here. Okay, that's basically it. The rest will be covered in a detailed DVD. All right, thank you for joining me, and I hope that this it was actually produced to help you, not scare you. And good luck with everything. Take care. Bye-bye.